morning. Oh, face the mic, Cindy. Fix your bra strap. Oh my goodness. It's just, these have become so casual. I run in here and set up and go. It's not, I used to be so concerned about everything. And yeah, I've been working on the stream and adding a few things here and there and taking care of some of that business. Mostly what I've been doing is uploading past episodes to YouTube where I can keep them permanently forever, right? And either make them public or private. Even if they're not public, I'm keeping the private ones. It's the only way to archive that I know of, other than maybe downloading to something offline, but I haven't investigated that. It's too easy to go to YouTube. But it takes a long time, and I have worked for 2 days, and I finally got through the streams that I did during the Tour de Fleece, which was, 21 days of streaming in a row. It was a lot of streaming. A lot of spinning, too. I did spin a lot. Anyway, I'm caught up a little bit now, but at least I'm way beyond now where it says these are going to expire in 2 days, right? I'm way beyond that now. And a lot of those Tour de Fleece ones are going to roll every day. Something's going to expire until we go through those. And then, of course, I had a little bit of a break when I went down to Mom's, so I didn't have streams during that 2-week period. And maybe it was even longer than that. So there's not as many left to go, but it takes time. It really does. It's not something I have to sit here. I walk away, but I forget to come back and do the next one. And all of a sudden, it's time to go to bed, and I thought, I didn't change that stream, did I? I have coffee this morning, as I said in my little message to you, because I was lazy, and we always have a coffee pot. But I got to thinking, with the cooler weather, it's time to start making pots of tea, and I'm looking forward to that. So, especially, I think I'll just bring the pot with a tea cozy on it, and it'll keep it. This cup of coffee doesn't stay warm very long. I have to drink it pretty quick. It's definitely not going to last the 2 hours of the stream. Okay, we are not going to spin today. We are not going to knit today. I am going to do what I normally do in the mornings. If the weather is decent or whatever. We have a drizzly, cloudy day, but it's not unpleasant on the porch. But I am going to work on what is called picking fiber. It's actually prepping it, opening the locks up, and I'm getting a Cormo fleece ready for the dye pots. I'm got 2 bags. I got 1 bag completely full. I'm working on the second, and I don't know. I'm hoping to get it done pretty quick because I've got my dye pots out. I'm ready to do it as soon as I get this ready and I decide what color I want. We're going to talk about that. So let me go to my camera. Which is absolutely nothing but a table with a tablecloth on that I will pull a little closer to me, cover me up. This Cormo fiber has been prepped once. I mean, it's been washed once, which means it was sort of prepped. I'm going to tell you all about that. And this is what it looks like now. I'll just get a bunch of it out. It's probably about half of what I got in the bag. Going to be a lot of bag rattling today. And I'm going to try and get myself comfortable. I'm a little achy today. I mowed for the last 2 days. In the last 2 days, mowing, I have a certain period of time. I'll not go longer than, right? So I mow a certain section. And it's really important that I start mowing because we're running out of summer. We're running out of time for hubby to work on some of the projects that he needs to do outside on the house itself. And he has been doing all of the mowing this year. He did all of the mowing in 2019 when I had my first knee surgery done. I mowed last year, 2020, but I did not mow this year until this week, which was a whole year, right? So I'm a little achy because you sit on the mower and you plant your feet, of course. I don't have to push a pedal or anything. It's a riding mower and it's really nice. I don't have to push like a gas pedal or anything. But my leg is in that position like you're sitting in a chair with the knee bent. And the problem is it's very bumpy. And so you're jerking along like this and I've got my foot planted and my knee is going like this, right? Because of all the bumping around. And it's not real good on the knee, which is one of the reasons I'm being a little cautious about how much I do it. And second reason, I'm not going to mow today. I'm going to take a break and gradually work into it. It's okay. It's not screaming pain. It's not anything like the pain I had after the surgery. It's just annoying pain. And I take a couple Tylenol and I'm all right. But that lasts for a while and then it hurts again. A little. Just a little. And that's not really a complaint. It's just a general, this is where I'm at right now, you know, and on the whole knee thing has just been fantastic. I'm really, really there. Really almost back to having what I would consider normal knees. So first of all, Cormo. What is Cormo? Cormo is a breed of sheep genetically related to Merino. In fact, I probably could look up in my fiber book as to the actual process of developing Cormo, but really all you need to know about it is it's related to Merino, and therefore it has all of its good qualities of Merino and all of its bad qualities. And any of you who have worked with trying to process at home a Merino fiber know what I'm talking about. All right. I don't know too much about the ancient history of this particular fleece. I know I bought it at Greencastle because there was always a breeder there that I would buy a fleece from, and her major flock was Cormo. But I limited myself to buying two because the first one taught me that it's very, very, very hard to home process. And so I had bought two when I bought those two, and I washed this in 2015 and I put it away because I had been working with the other one. I was using it for information on a podcast. I was doing specific lock washing and that sort of thing. And, you know, I just never got back to this one. And also in the podcast, in one of the recent podcasts, about 2 or 3 back from now, I called this the Lost and Found Fleece and talked all about it on the podcast. Maybe I should put the link to that. I guess I should. That might be a good idea. I'll do that towards the end. I won't do that right now. Links in here go away. That's the real problem. So maybe I'll put a link in the Discord notice about it. How's that? It'll stay there. Lost and I'm making myself a note. Lost and Found Fleece podcast. Okay. So, what's the good part of Merino? Soft. I mean, soft. This is really, truly, next to the skin, soft. And it's not going to be that softness that you spin up into yarn and it surprises you like getting scratchy or whatever. There's no hidden kemp or any prickly fibers, you know, no guard hairs. There's nothing like that. It is just true soft wool. It's a little bouncy, halfway bouncy. This one is kind of depleted of bounce right now because it was lost and then found and not stored where I expected it, so it got a little smooshed. But let me show you the bounce once you fluff it, right? Piles of fluff. So it is got relatively good bounce. Now, if you spin this thin, like it wants to be because of its crimp and all, if you spin it thin, you're going to lose that bounce. If you spin it woolen, card it up, you'll spin it thin by combing it. If you spin it thicker by drum carding it, you're going to have a very bouncy yarn. So it can go either way. And it's equally difficult to process either way. All right, that's one of the negative parts. It's pretty hard to get a nice drum carded bat without getting neps in it because it is so sensitive to the teeth of the drum carder and that process of carding through. And hand cards might be better. You're working with smaller amount. You're not going to pass the teeth through the fiber as much and often as you do a drum carder. Think about it. Your drum carder has a great big drum that you need to fill with at least, an eighth of an inch, quarter inch of depth. And so you're constantly putting fiber in, and the fiber that's on that drum is constantly being brushed by the little drum. So it tends to break a little bit from that. Well, you can get away from that by using hand cards. You don't have as much. You would card about this much in my hand cards. But you also have very little spin when you do that. Same is true of the combs. The staple length, and I will see if I can find a lock here, because now we're going to talk about locks. As you can see, the locks are really indistinct, and that is my fault as far as how I washed it. I did not wash it to maintain integrity of the locks. I washed it, and yet I think I can grab some right here. All right, these aren't real clean. They got little bits and bobs attached to it, but there is a good example of a lock. First of all, it is a complete lock, see? And it is intact. I can snap it and not have a problem. See the crimp? First of all, see individual fibers. How thin. The micron count is extraordinarily thin, and that's a merino trait. Now, I don't know the micron count for this. I'm not sending any away for measurement. I don't care. I just know it's thin. It's on the thin side, right? And that's what makes it soft. That crimp can make it bouncy, because even if you look and see, if I pull on it, look how hard I'm pulling on it. You still see those waves. You can still see the waves. So that crimp's not going to go away. You're still going to keep that bounce no matter what you do. All right. So that's all of the merino traits that are good if you know what you're getting into and how to handle it. The merino trait that's bad is very high lanolin. And the very high lanolin is very essential to understand and deal with when you home process a fiber from a fleece, that you have to get rid of lanolin. And the problem with this being all stuck together like this, and the locks not being intact, was, first of all, I didn't do the way you wash locks if you want to keep your locks intact. These were too thin, too small to really manage that. I could have sat there and pulled off all of these and lined them up in the nylon net and rolled it up and washed the locks that way. Or I could take them by hand and soap them this way. it's tedious enough that having done that with one of the Cornrow fleeces, I decided I would not do that with this one. That I would go the other direction and see how it would do as far as a thicker, fluffier yarn, and that's the direction I'm going. But I also am going to dye it. So I want this, I don't want to throw this into the dye pot this way. I want to open this up, and that is what I have been working on to get this kind of looking fiber. And that's what I'm going to work on today. So how do you get rid of the lanolin? I'll talk about that as I work. Like I said, you're going to be seeing a lot of, or hearing a lot of rattle. I'll try and keep this lock there. Hello, good morning, Dandy. Good morning, how are you? Koi Ghost, thank you for the follow. So this is one of those such relaxing Zen processes, right? It's just pulling on the fiber and opening it up. That's all it is. Hi, I appreciate the follow, Koi Ghost. Thank you so much. So the reason this is sticking together after I washed it is because I did not get the lanolin out of it and did not realize it and put it away with the lanolin still partially on it. I am surprised because according to my little piece of paper records that I put in with it, I washed it with the wool washing products I normally use, which almost always takes care of the lanolin. So it didn't, and that shows how concentrated, how much of the lanolin was in here. So what it needs is another wash, and I'm going to do that. And since I'm going to be putting it into hot soapy water and then rinsing it really good a couple times, do that a couple times. While it's still wet, I will then put it into a dye pot. And I have been thinking and thinking and thinking, what color do I want to make? I am going to use the acid dye. I am not going to use a natural dye. I have a Corriedale fleece ready for the black walnut dye, and there's a lot of it, so I'm going to get a lot of that color. So I am going to use an acid dye. So I am open to, any kind of colors. I'm trying to decide really what I'm going to make with this to make the decision as to what color I want. Oh, well, Dandy, I didn't know you were home. That's good, although I know what you mean. Not good to be stuck and not being able to go anywhere. Normally I do this sitting on my front porch. Partially because it is, there is dust and stuff falling out of here. You can see it right there. And that's why I have a tablecloth. I just gather this tablecloth up and take it out and shake it. I use this tablecloth for during streaming and everything for the camera, right? So that you can see the white on the... I don't use it in the house for anything. To show you that it's sticky, I will show you that. See that? That one little bit is sticking to my finger because it has that lanolin hardened on it. Not really hardened, but it's just sticky, really sticky. And that is not what you want as far as after you wash a fleece. It should not have any of that tackiness at all. It's a tactile thing, not something that's easy to show, but I can guarantee you that if you were washing fleece, you would know if it wasn't washed enough because of this stickiness. Now, I do get shortcuts. Well, that's out of camera, but that kind of stuff does not go into the pile because I don't want that in the yarn when I spin it. I do take that out. That's because this is sheared off of the sheep. And, you know, it's clippers running up the sheep's body. And first pass, they may not get all the way down to the bottom of it. So they... I'm going to bring my trash can closer. There we go. You know, so they make a second pass with the clippers, and then they get shorter stuff, and it's called shortcuts. Some shortcuts are usable, but a lot of times they're not. We got the blues today. I'm playing the blues. I like blues. So this may be fascinating to watch, but it's pretty repetitive. And I'm sure that, you know, after you've seen it for a while, maybe you're done and want to go on to something else. I just have to do this today. This is what I'm going to be doing during the stream. I started streaming a little early today because we are going to go get groceries after I get done. And I don't want to get too late going. Okay, I gotta take a coffee break or my coffee will get cold and I won't get it in me. Ooh, that's a nice bit. Sometimes you hit a lock, it's just full of nice fiber, you know? Very relaxing. I end up with pretty relaxing streams. I have, because I spin too, and watching the spinning wheel, I've been told a lot that it is relaxing. And I, you know, I have a camera on. I mean, I have Streamlabs on, and I can see what the camera's showing, and I catch myself watching the camera. You're watching what's on the screen, right? Watching the bobbin fill as I'm spinning. Koi Ghost, are you a crafter? Are you currently working on something right now? Just plain working at work? I know some people do that. I have the luxury of being retired, which is nice. Generally, usually. Means less money, but that's okay. I like the more time. I used to say that the whole time I worked. It's either time or money. You get one or the other, but you don't get both together. Oh, you're a tattoo artist. Oh, that's awesome. Any artist artwork and all is awesome. That's really cool. You have to you draw your ideas ahead of time, or yeah, in general you just, I think of it as a wonderful creative process, and it is, but it's also work, right? There's money to be earned, and you gotta have that time to be able to do your job and all that, even if you are working at home. And that's not a even if, I mean, wherever you're working. It's very cool. I don't have any tattoos. I've always said I was going to get a dragon, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'd prefer my artwork on paper. I have a really, really cool painting of a dragon that I picked up in an art craft fair one time. Didn't know the artist or anything, but it hangs in my craft room. Yes, she says I draw all my ideas ahead of time, but yes, it's nice still to have it. It still is a job. Definitely different than just drawing or crafting for myself. Absolutely. And yeah, I miss, if I can't do creative stuff. So what happens with this is it becomes a job in many ways, right? I'm in a production mode. Sometimes I have sold at Boost, but sometimes it's just production for having material for streaming or podcasting. So, it ends up being, I got to do this today. I got to do this today. It doesn't feel creative anymore. And when I finally reach a point that, it just isn't doing it for me as far as satisfaction of creativity, I have to go do something else, right? Even if it means picking up colored pencils and coloring. If sometimes, it's just painting a little something that is a sun catcher or something. Nothing that is, what am I trying to say? It's just satisfying to do the process. Nothing that I'm doing for sale or want to earn money on it. I just want to do the process. Probably goes to a specific part of your brain, and that's the part of my brain that says, I need this. If I ever change my mind about a dragon, oh, don't tempt me. That's awesome. Please post a link to anything that you want to be public access to anything you sell or whatever. If you have a website or if you Discord or whatever, I would appreciate it. I would love to see anything like that. Hopefully I have the links enabled. With this stuff going around about the hate spamming and in the chat, I did reset some things, so if it doesn't work, let me know. I may have to set something as a mod. I may have to set something different. I don't really have mods. I'm it. Thank you. I wonder if that'll work if I don't have an Instagram account. Let me see if that works. Actually, I think I do have an Instagram, but don't use it. Oh, oh. It works, by the way, as you can tell by my response. Oh, wow. You got a whale. That is cool, too. Very, very nice. Thank you. You're in Brooklyn. Thank you. I appreciate that. I bookmarked it. I don't know if it'll open it for me again or not. Did you get through the Ida storm when it went through that area? I think it didn't go into New York as much, but, well, yes, it did, but I don't know what areas. I don't know the Brooklyn. I don't know the areas of New York very well. We actually had Ida come through where I live, which is in Kentucky, before it hit you all up there on the East Coast. It was a weird, right up the heart of the Midwest storm, wasn't it? You had it though, right? Yeah, there wasn't much flooding near me, but we did have some leaking in your apartment. Oh my, yes. We just had tons of rain, a few bigger limbs down than normal, but from our trees. That was enough. Your husband's family from Kentucky. How cool. I am south of Louisville. Louisville. That's how you say it. It's all vowels. Louisville. I am not from Kentucky originally, but I have lived here long enough that I feel like I pretty much can count this as one of my resident life residencies. Yeah, Owensboro and Paducah. That is west of me. Oh, you're going to go to Colorado and live? Oh, awesome. That's a cool state to live in. My yin yang is I'm a Taurus, so I'm, earthbound, rooted. But I love to travel. So, I've always figured the solution is a travel trailer that I can just go to all these different places. Then I have my home, right? I have my home. My turtle has got its home, but then I can take my home wherever I want. In the spinning community, there are things known as fiber fairs. This is like any kind of gathering of like-minded craft people, right? And at fiber fairs, you can find people selling fleece like this, people selling things to process the fleece, people who have already processed it, dyed it, and it's ready to spin, to hand-spun yarn, and things in between that are sort of nice asides, like pottery and jewelry and things like that. And they're all over the country, all different times. So that, of course, would be my first trip, all these different fiber fairs. Because I haven't really done any west of the Mississippi, only on the east side. Not even that far away. Hi, Sock Wizard. How are you? Oh, is it talking there? I accidentally hit that when I was posting about the podcast. Is it talking there? Oh my gosh. How do I get that off? I'll open Discord. Thank you. All right. I'm there. Oh. I need to mute it. How do I mute it? Oh my gosh. It is muted. Hang up. Got it. Thank you. Oh. Well, that shows you what happens when you hit the wrong button. I think I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Senior citizen at large. Senior citizen on the internet. Beware. How you doing today, Sock Wizard? What you up to? I need to check a couple other Discord and make sure I didn't do that there too. Because I was on Discord this morning quite a bit. Time out here a minute. This stuff sticks to my hand. It won't go off my fingers and into the trash. Alright, who else was I in this morning? I'm in my own. I just hung that one up. That was the only other one, I think. All right, got that fixed. Oh, I feel so much better. Thank you. So, yeah, it's kind of okay. I am disconnected. Okay. It is kind of right there, right where your cursor lands when you first go in there or something. I don't know. At least I learned something. I learned how to disconnect it. You have to hit the little hang up phone. You wouldn't think I'd know that. That's like we used to talk on. I used to talk on Discord years and years and years ago. It was for a game. It wasn't even for. It was for an internet game. You know, it wasn't even for spinning or anything. That was fun because it's you get worldwide people, and so you get we had an Australian. I loved her accent. We had a Dutch. I loved his accent. I would just like you guys just go ahead and talk. I'll just sit here and listen. Some of these little locks, I mean, they are so thin and so crimpy. Can you imagine having hair like that? Those are hard actually to pull apart, but I'm working on it here. But it is a little harder. So I cannot decide what color I want to make this. Like I previously said, I am going to be using acid dyes. I am not going to use a natural dye. So it's not like I'm going to use the black walnut or whatever. And some of that is because of the quickness of acid dyes as opposed to the natural dyes, which have to cook longer, and it's supposedly just simmering, but I don't want to get this. This is very prone, being merino based, very prone to felding, and I don't want to do that. So I am going to go for the quickest process. And that quickest process means that it's also going to be immersion, a kettle dye. It's not going to be put it on and, put it in the oven or in the heat somehow or that kind of thing too. Okay, so I got that parameters. I know I can use acid dyes. I've got a pretty unlimited range of colors in my dye stash. And this is not good. None of that's good. Okay. So ultimately, what I need to decide is what I'm going to make out of it. And that's a little hard to decide because I'm not 100% sure how much yarn I'm going to get. Will I have enough for a sweater? I don't think so. I haven't actually weighed all this fiber yet because when I'm finally getting ready to, I weigh it before I spin it, right? When I finally get ready to spin it, then I get how much weight do I have kind of thing. But right now, I don't know how much weight I have, so I don't really know. Hi, Tuna Basil! Those crimpy bits look like the Shetland Mini Cheviot lamb fleece you're processing. Yeah. The locks are so thin and springy and soft. Absolutely. I'm surprised with Cheviot, but not with Shetland. So, okay, is it a mini? What is the mini? Shetland or Cheviot? And is it mini, an actual mini sheep, like a baby doll, or is it a just a small fleece because it was a lamb? Okay, lots of noise here. This is all I have left to pick right here. Except I have a bag, a separate bag that this one is labeled as very dirty tips. In other words, this was the worst of the worst of the worst. And it has been picked, and actually I tried combing it and pulling it off the comb and it didn't work well. That was another reason I decided that I don't think I'm going to go for a worsted yarn, because I don't think I can get a good top to spin. Although it's begging to be. Ask me how I know. Ask me how my fleece talks to me. My fleece talks to me, right? It talks to me. It's begging to be made into top and spun on the nano, so that I get like the thinnest of thinnest of thinnest lace weight yarn. But I may be wrong on that, because the most ideal fleece to do that with is a Shetland. Shetland has nowhere near this lanolin in it, nor will Shetland do that. I'm 20 wraps per inch before you wash me, and I'm 14 after you wash me. Right? That's what merino does. And this Cormo is liable to do that because, like I said, Cormo is a merino-based genetic. The Cheviot is a mini, I guess, or at least that's what my farmer friend said. She mostly raises Shetlands and Shetland crosses as a hand spinner's flock. Okay. All right, good. Why is my message thing rotate chat identity? Oh, it wants me to pick a chat identity, I guess. Huh. This thing is being so twitchy. The stars are not aligned today for internet work. But yes, these little tiny locks, one, they're impossible to try and spin as a lock spin, which would be the best way to get a thin yarn without trying to get a top. They're not thick enough. There's not enough there to bother trying to spin them. And then, unfortunately, the top looked like it's not going to work. So I'm going to give up on that, spin it thin, maybe do a Shetland on the nano, try for that really, really thin instead. And of course, I have a Shetland that I just bought, I've been working on. It was the yin yang, it was black and white, which would be pretty cool too. So if I'm going to spin it so that it's thicker, then the projects are going to be more aimed towards clothing, outerwear, clothing or accessories. I have, for a long time, I have been looking for a yarn to make like a hat for hubby. And men are like particular about their colors, right? They want gray or blue, or you know what I'm saying. At least my hubby is. And there's a couple other people I could make males that I could make Christmas gifts for. I could make one for my grandson, who probably would prefer a color, but he's the only one. There is, if it was not such a nice fiber, I would dye it red and green, so I would have Christmas yarn, because I'm also currently working on Christmas knitting. But I'm going to save that for a not so nice yarn, because this can be worn, and not so nice yarn can go on the Christmas tree and ornaments and Christmas stockings and that kind of stuff. So I need a not so soft yarn, not so soft fleece for Christmas, red and green. And I'm sure I have one somewhere. I'm sure of that. The Shetland is black and white, yes. I call it my yin yang fleece. I just bought that this spring. I keep wanting to call it a Jacob because I am so used to Jacobs being multicolored. But it's a Shetland. I would love to have seen the sheep where the black and the white was. But I didn't. I bought it at a fiber fair, and it was on the huge, long tables full of fleeces that this one vendor had. Dandy, I don't raise any fiber animal anymore. I have never raised sheep. And I live on land, I could have. When I first moved here, I intended to. And I was advised by the locals not to at that time. And that was 30 years ago. Because there were still a lot of predators around, and I am talking wolves. So I didn't. And of course, through all the years, even though I worked, I really like to travel too, and it's essential that if you have animals, you have somebody that will take care of it. I relied on my daughter, who lives in the same area, but not here, to take care of whatever catter I had, who are somewhat independent. But anyway, shortly after moving here, what I finally decided on, after getting that advice, instead of sheep, is Angora rabbits. And I raised those for years. I stopped raising them. I stopped breeding them in 2003. Because my dad had passed away and my mom was in Florida. They were in Florida. My mom was in Florida, and I thought, I'm going to have to go down quite a bit and help Mom. And so I thought, I better not have the rabbits anymore. That's just too much trouble to have somebody come out. Really, it's supposed to be twice a day. You can get away with once a day, but, you can't get away with multiple days with those kind of animals. So I stopped breeding them. And what happened was I, of course, listed the rabbits for sale. And anybody who was raising Angora rabbits already had bucks. And they came and they bought does. All they wanted was does because they already had a buck. They wanted litters themselves. And by the time all that was done, I ended up with about 8 bucks in the barn. And so I joked about having a geriatric rabbit farm because nobody bought them and I can't kill them. I'm not going to kill them. And I continue to harvest their fiber until one by one they passed away. Probably about 4 years in the process. Rabbits don't live long, but they sure live long enough when you're, your goals are, let's not have rabbits anymore. I have not spun Angora fiber for a couple years now, and I have some that I need to do that. I need to do that next. I need to try it on the Nano. I definitely need to do that. Maybe Sunday. Sunday's stream. Oh man, it's all, my fingers are all, see, it's sticking to it. It's all sticky. Alright, the coffee's gone. For all of the little, what looks like clumps of fiber, the staple length on this is actually very long, which is another reason it's going to be good to spin thin. I can do a hybrid. You know, I can make the drum-carded bats. I'm a little concerned about the drum-carded bats and the fiber breaking. I was talking about that early in the, when I was first starting the stream. And all the way around, it's like, it's a wonderful fiber, but it's very hard to home process. Normally I would say, okay, you don't want to home process something, find a mill nearby. I wouldn't even recommend sending a Cormo to a mill. I can't guarantee that they aren't going to have the same problems. Which is why I haven't bought a Cormo fleece for years now. Maybe I'll figure some of it out this time around. Now, a Cormo blend. See, this is 100%. right? It's not a mixed breed. And a cornmeal with something else might help solve some of this. Hi, all crafty. How are you? Welcome. You guys came out this morning. Sometimes I don't have anybody on these early morning streams. Thank you for everybody stopping by. Appreciate it. It's so much more fun when I got somebody to talk to. I'm bouncing around on topics all over, but thinking about what color I want to dye this, I had a feeling I have something that's almost a navy dye. These are acid dyes. Maybe a navy, and if I could get a gold that isn't too orange. I actually have... It's so risky to dye anything with acid dyes with yellows or oranges, right? All you can do if you take your yellow to and put your orange with it is make, an orangey yellow. Somehow you have to get brown in there, which really is like a little bit of black or something to make it go down to the gold, and it's a tough formula. I can experiment with it, but haven't had a whole lot of luck over the years trying to get a gold. I thought navy and gold would look really good together, but I'm stuck with, if I do the navy, I'm stuck with what to do instead. Sometimes if I just go look at, what other people have dyed, that helps a little bit. Not to copy it per se, but it just seeing some color combinations. I've done a lot of greens and I've done a lot of just your standard blues. I do have pretty good luck with maroons and sort of what you call the brick color. What I need to do, I'm looking for a Tweety outcome in the yarn. So I need to do maybe a green and not a brown, but something that has a brown tone to it, and put those together while I'm spinning, or card them together, drum card them together. You're supposed to be working, but got locked out of your work computer for 30 minutes due to wrong password. Oh. Well, welcome. And if you do get back in, I have a lurk work command now. Oops, don't need that in there. Don't really have my locks in the camera so you can see the locks. There you go. Oh wow, that's an amazing lock. Look how long that is. Wow. I think that's the longest I found in there. Okay, this is the last of what would have been the major part of this Cormo fleece. And I have it all in one bag. Now I have, like I said, this little bit that is what I had listed as very dirty. And I washed it with Natalie Redding's wool shampoo. I am going to pick it apart but put it in a different bag. If I can find it. To be honest with you, this one is not as sticky. It's actually not sticky at all. It would have gotten quite a few washes. It does have a lot more of the dirty tips. So, in many ways, it's better than the one I washed with. I'm not sure what I washed the other one with. I'm pretty sure it was like Dawn or something like that. Because I don't think I was using Power Scour yet. It was either Dawn or Power Scour, so one of the two. So I will correct something I said earlier. I said that what I was just using was the wool shampoo. It was not. This is. Because it was washed during a time when I was testing. For the podcast, I was testing and reporting several different. And this actually is really nice. So the Natalie Redding wool shampoo does work good. It's sticking to my fingers some because I didn't go wash the previous lanolin off from the other. But I can tell it's not sticky or tacky like it was. The other was. But this one, I may not put in the dye pot. It's not much. I mean, it's just going to be this little bit, this bag. And go ahead and make some bats on the drum carder to see if it's as fragile as I'm concerned about. Since this is clean enough to go on the drum carder now. One of the things I do when I buy a fleece usually is wash it as soon as I can. But before I wash it, I will lay it out on the porch floor on a sheet and sort it, grade it, right? And all that stuff on the back that has the really nice area I put in one bag box, whatever, and this, which would have been on the hindquarters, I use as my test to see how much washing it needs or whatever. My test failed with whatever I used on the other part, but it did really well on this one. And that is one of the claims that Natalie Redding has with her wool shampoo. It's set up to work with mohair, Angora goats, and they are one of the worst things to try and clean, especially adults and adult males. So, she was using that as her deciding factor when they were developing the formula for the wool shampoo as to whether it worked or not, on what she considered her worst washing problems. There's also a different technique to wash with her wool shampoo than we're used to. We are, as a whole, used to taking a sink full of hot water with the washing product. Let's just say Dawn, which we used for years and years and years before there was really a lot of these other available wool washing products. Dawn dishwashing liquid because it will take the grease away, right? Which is what lanolin is. So you make your soapy water, you put your fleece in there, picked open, let it absorb the water, let it sit for a little bit, swish it around gently, rinse it, repeat. Her washing technique is more of wet your fiber. Just get your hot water and wet it. And then take handfuls of what you want to wash. So let's just say this is all wet and hot water. Take that, squirt just a little bit of her wool shampoo on it, and do this. Nah, you're not doing this. That's going to felt it. You're just doing this, right? You're squeezing it, soapy suds through that, and set it aside. And do that. Let it sit there for 15 minutes. Do whatever you're washing. You have all these little piles of soapy fiber in your sink. And then you can throw it back into the water, do your first rinse, but you're going to have to rinse a lot more after that, right? It's going to take a little bit to get that soap out. But it really works because that is really introducing the soap and hot water to the lanolin, and it's not sitting in that soap and hot water that's in your sink, right? So it's a really, really good way to wash high lanolin fleeces like this. Why didn't I do that for the rest of it? Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And at that point in time, when I washed this, I was working full time. I was dealing with 2 bad knees, so standing was a problem, and I was taking a shortcut. So the question is, do I do that technique on what's still sticky? I think so. I actually think so. And then while it's wet, take it to the dye pot. That's my plan anyway. if I remember. Oh, I have such short-term memory. I don't remember stuff. All right, this is sticking to me, but it's not, this fleece is not sticky. It's just still on my fingertips. And, this was the hindquarters, and it's still gorgeous, gorgeous long staple fleece. Someone's scratching at my door. I have closed the door without allowing the cat to come in. Closed it all the way today because I knew I was going to be messing with this. And decided not to let him come and be in here. One thing this does not have is a lot of vegetable matter. I cannot remember if this breeder coated her sheep or not. There is so little vegetable matter in here that is that's another good thing if I'm going to drum cart it. Because you can get some out with the drum carting, but it tends to stay in there more than combing. So yeah, I can divide this and try combing some and try carting some. And that'll help me decide what to do. My projects are all long-term, my goodness. My goodness, they're long-term. Considering I watched this years ago. But that's because it got lost. And then it got found. No, all crafty. Was that you with the loom in the Discord? I don't know looms at all. Oh, this is what I tried to comb. That's the top I tried to pull off. As a just general, if you're questioning whether to buy it or if it was given to you, that's one thing, and that's great. You can get all sorts of help with that. If you're questioning whether to buy it, I would say yes. The only drawback I can see, and just because I don't know about looms doesn't mean I don't have opinion, but the only drawback I see is the fact it's only 2 harness. That's a plain weave. You can't do patterns. Am I out of the camera? I'm leaning back more and more, so if I get out of the camera, sorry. Oh, Harrisville is, of course, I know that. And does it have treadles or is it a hand loom? Treadle is better. Four harness is good. And whatever width it is, you're going to be weaving a little less than that. You know what I'm saying. That's the sum total of my knowledge. I do have a small loom. I have taken weaving classes because we have a place in town called the Little Loom House, which was a very famous weaver in the 40s and 50s, maybe 50s and 60s. But by the time I got there in the 70s, yeah, it would have been early, like in the 30s and 40s, because by the time I got there in the 70s to take class, she was not, she was in her 70s or 80s, right? So, but I did take class with her, and I learned a lot, and I do have a loom similar to what I learned on, but I haven't done a lot. I just plain haven't done a lot. Too busy with the spinning wheels. Yeah, the treadle is good. So much to do, so little time. See, I could set that up in here. Weave during the stream. It's the right size. It's a tabletop. It's currently warped. Bye, all crafty. Go back to work. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day. I need a stretch. I'm actually gonna finish this. This is what I have left in the 2-hour stream. I am excited about that. Oh, here's some more top I tried. After this, of course, we're going to go get groceries, so got to do that. But after that, my plans are to do what I call a big wash up, which is a whole bunch of skeins of yarn that I spun. So I think I may have washed the first skeins that I did during the Turtle Fleece. I think they're already washed. I'm not real sure what's in that bag. I have a great big paper sack of skeins needing washed. So I'm going to work on that today, this afternoon, and tomorrow. Ew, let's get rid of that. Whole bunch of vegetable matter just after I said there wasn't any. With the intention of finding the skeins that I spun for the Passport, Livestock Conservancy Passport, Shave 'em to Save 'em, that I haven't submitted yet, because I need to get those. There's no deadline, but I just want that over and done with, because I'm done. I'm done with what fibers I was going to spin. I just need to get it finalized. Get my prize. Which they have all sorts of choices, but I'm going to get a bottle of Power Scour, and I'm going to get a book that they have, of course, being a bookaholic. Wonder if they're doing the spinning thing in October. I don't think I'm going to do it because they are the ones that charge for entry. Ow! Owie! This does have, you can tell this was the worst. It has lots of vegetable matter in it. This is going to be slower because of that. Hard to pick out. I'm kind of sad. I don't think I'm going to get to go to any more fiber fairs this year. Unless I can talk hubby into a trip up to Ohio to the wool gathering in Columbus, Ohio area. Don't need it though. Don't need to go. It's just my knees are doing so good. It would be so wonderful to go to one and actually enjoy it. Really, not have to worry about not being, on my feet too long and the walking and all that. Had a good test run when we did the state fair. Lots of walking at the state fair. That went well. There is actually a tool that can help you with what I'm doing. It is wicked looking, just like big combs are. It's called a picker. And if you think of the tines of combs, you know, looking like nails, basically you have a square rectangle wood box, and on top of that, on a pivoting, can't think of the word for the tool, but it'll swing, right? So it's attached two places up here, and the swing thing is a curved piece that has these nails on it, like a comb, and you go like this, and you lay your fiber on that box, and you just go like this. Two things. It's very, you got to be really careful with it. And the second thing, that swinging motion throws your fiber off, right? It opens it up and throws it off. So you have to have something right beyond it, like a big box or something, to catch it, or it's all over the floor. Never have bought one. Not really interested. I have used one or a couple times at a spinner's home who no longer lives in my area, but in fact, she's deceased, unfortunately. But yeah, I've used one, and it's not a tool that I'm really interested in. I'm a little too specialized. This takes forever. And yeah, if I was trying to make something go faster, I would invest in one, but I'm not doing it, not needing it. Wisconsin Sheep and Wool is this weekend. Yes. Oh, we'll go before you babysit your niece. You're not going to take your niece? Is she not of the age that'd be interested? I nearly forgot until you mentioned fire festivals. Oh, okay. Don't forget. Go for me. That'll be great. I have any number of photos of my grandson's first fiber fair. He was an infant and still in the carrier, right? My daughter carried him around and leaned over so he could pet the sheep and pet everything, right? But it was short-lived being an infant. He was, it was a short-lived visit. Uh-oh. I'm going to change the song. They're going to mute me. Probably too late. They were playing Amazing Grace, and that's just like asking for a mute. In spite of Twitch saying that, in spite of Pretzel saying that these are okay, I know if I recognize a song, it's not going to be okay. She loves horses. Oh. Usually what they really like is watching the sheep herding dogs. That's always fun. Yeah, things sneak up on us, doesn't it? It's like, oh my gosh, it's already September. We're going to have Indian summer. It's coming next week. It's cool right now, but that's because a cold front went through and it's been raining a little bit. And next week we're going to go back up into the high 80s, and that is a true Indian summer. And then I think we'll be officially into fall. Yay! Take pictures for the Discord. Pet a sheep for me. Say thank you. At least doing this a second time around, there's not a lot of waste. When I am picking a fleece that I just bought, getting it ready to wash, because I do have to pick it apart like this to wash it, there's a lot of waste. That's the time you take out all the stuff you don't want in, and it looks like it just looks like you're losing so much of your fleece. But garbage in, garbage out, right? Right, right. That's what we gotta remember. This is it's cleaner, but it's not as nice. I can tell this is got the tips aren't real good. It's got shortcuts and vegetable matter. I'm trying to get most of it out, but it's a good test. It's a good little bit of the fleece to do some testing on without dyeing it. And yeah, I would pick it open anyway to either card or comb. The only difference is I probably would be doing it as I went along instead of sitting here doing it all at once. But I might as well finish it while I'm sitting here. See, there's a lot of vegetable matter right there. Just too bad. Or dirty tip. Well, I tell you, my stomach does not let me forget that it's almost mealtime. I'd be skinny like my husband if I had his appetite, but I don't. I don't have that. I like to eat. And I definitely will before I go to the grocery store. Don't ever go to the grocery store hungry. That's what they say, isn't it? Got this left. That's it. I feel very productive for so early in the morning for me. I'm so glad everybody came by and passed the time with me. It really helps. Repetition work like this. Making my nose itch. Keeps that up, I'll end up sneezing. Oh boy. What do I got here? Big old knot. Oops, sorry. Hit the mic. I think when I was sorting all this out, I threw the really super, super little crimpy locks in this also. I mean, they're just so many of them. So that's another reason I don't know how it's gonna drum card. I'm still gushing inside about how soft it is, though. It is. It is just so soft. This is it. Yeah, there we go. These are just like impossible to open up. Okay. And the space between, oops, found another bit. The space between the teeth of the drum carder are not going to help with that because they're just going to slide between the space of the teeth and lay in there like little crimpy curls, which I will just spin. I will have a somewhat textured yarn. Some of this is a little sticky. This is sticky. Okay, now I'm done. I think. Oh, nose. Okay, that goes outside and gets shook. Okay, I'm calling it a day. Let's go see if there's anybody we want to raid. All right. MakerBug is somebody new to me. Or Awkwardish Panda is new to me. Food and drink. Mrs. Ruby is doing very reluctant ice cream. I would, okay, I've gotten into the food channels lately, and Mike Sy he's just great. I watch him, and I really, really love his sense of humor. And I haven't been watching too many others, but the food channels are starting to catch my eye.
We have always looked to the stars.
Got to go through the ad here.
Who we
I am checking out MakerBug. It says crocheting. Well, it says creating creepy, cute plushies. It doesn't say
to determine the future.
crocheting.
let's fly.
This time, it's so funny. Soup. Give me nice soup.
Oh, she's got a good laugh.
Yes, I love it. Pumpkin so much. But sometimes
Okay, she's
the
sewing.
apple cider is the best. Mwah.
She is sewing.
The same. Favorite fall treat for me is soup. All the soups. Oh yes, 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 yes. I made peanut soup last. What? Peanut soup? Oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. And so, like, what else was in it? Like, I'm trying, like.
I doubt it. I mean, I'm gonna have tracking and stuff on it, so.
This. Hang on. My Fallout helmet. It's got a voice changer.
All right. We're going to go to
He's
MakerBug.
cut out because we're sewing him right now, but he's super.
Even though
detailed.
she's
He's
sewing.
bedazzled, you can't tell, but there's rhinestones. I use the Hot Fix rhinestone maker. You know, I don't know if you have a bedazzle. If you don't, you need one because I feel like all of your creations could. You could just go back and re-bedazzle some things. It was veggie broth. Oh, and then you add the peanut and tomato paste and ginger, and then you simmer with other.
All right, you
olive
guys.
ginger. Ew.
I will be back Friday. There may be a little bit of difference in the time. Hubby has something he wants to do Friday evening. I usually stream Friday evening, so I don't know. We'll see. But, and then there's Sunday afternoon for sure. So, see you later.
So I'm just doing
Take care, and everybody have a good week.